Source: The Eden of Grisaya, the Cocoon of Caprice. Like and subscribe so you never miss our quality uploads. 2 years ago, at the Vancouver International Airport, there had been a kidnapping. The terrorists have taken over the airplane and held a Japanese woman national hostage. They demanded fuel and a pilot in exchange for the girl's life. Yuji Kazami, codenamed Boomerang, is in his firing position 2,000 meters away from the plane. He was ordered by Second Lieutenant Justin Meitmeyer to shoot the target. Once he does that, a suppression unit of a soldier named Daniel Bourne, nicknamed Danny, will breach simultaneously. Yuji claimed that it's impossible, but the captain, named Agnes Garrett, gets annoyed and angrily orders him to do his job anyway. Then, a communication officer named Robert Wolson, nicknamed Robbie, sends data to Yuji's PC. The data was a bush dog icon. As the men finished fueling the plane, a terrorist who is holding a girl hostage came out, while pointing a gun at her as they are ready to trade a pilot for the girl. This allows Yuji to smite that terrorist, which is a direct hit on the terrorist's hand. With the shot successful, Justin ordered Danny and his unit to infiltrate the plane. After that, Yuji rescued the girl, who used water to clean the blood from her face and gets picked on by Danny. Yuji picks up the girl's identification and it says Chizuru Tachibana, which reveals the girl's identity. Danny did not think that despite looking young, she is older than him and Yuji. Chizuru gets annoyed and told them that she is the principal of a school. Before leaving, she offers Yuji something as thanks for rescuing her. Yuji has made a decision. He wants to become an ordinary student in an ordinary school. In GB's office in the HQ, she did some research about Yuji's personal life. According to the record, Yuji had his family: Ryuji Kazami, Yuji's father and the owner of a small antique shop; Satoko Kazami, Yuji's mother whose spirit was weak and was reliant upon the other's affections; and Kazuki Kazami, Yuji's sister, blessed with her talent of science and arts since her childhood and had a promising future, but was killed as a victim in a minibus disaster. Yuji is the second child of the Kazami family, 2 years younger than Kazuki, and he was treated harshly by those around him. In a flashback, Kazuki was 4 years old and her father, Ryuji, was impressed by Kazuki's talent for drawing pictures. 6 years later, when she was 10 years old, her skills in painting have improved and pieces of her drawing are said to be worth several million yen. After a brief flashback, Chiara came inside the office to inform JB that Yuji had arrived. After Yuji came inside and sat down, JB informed him that she'd read the documents that he sent to her and asked him a few questions regarding Kazuki's death. It all happened when he was a young boy who was having a hard life and was treated like a fool, and Kazuki was worried about him. The next day, Yuji and Kazuki were playing catch with their ball, and Kazuki wants him to throw the ball with his left hand, which he does so perfectly. Later that day, while walking home, she told him to never give up and work hard, even if the situation would be worse. Afterward, Yuji was drawing a picture, and despite looking cartoonish, Kazuki liked it and put his drawing next to her painting. However, Ryuji was displeased and he told Kazuki to remove the picture, but she refused and claimed that she liked it. But then Yuji appeared and tore up his picture, which shocked Kazuki, and Ryuji scolded him for trying to be spiteful. Later that night, Kazuki was sad and felt sorry. The next day, Yuji met a man who was talking to Ryuji, the man who gave him a bar of chocolate from his music box. Ryuji told that man that, unlike Kazuki, Yuji lacked his talent for drawing. After that, Ryuji angrily asked Kazuki why she couldn't improve her pictures, but she claimed that it was because she was a child. Later, Yuji asked her why she lied to her father when he knew that she could draw better pictures, and she answered that it was irritating to be thought of. Then she showed him the manga that she borrowed from a girl in class, and after she is done reading it, she will lend it to him. She then wants him to make some friends so he can play with them. A moment later, Kazuki canceled her plans to study in Paris and maintained a relatively quiet lifestyle. But even then, her paintings have impressed a lot of people. Then, at nighttime, Yuji was left all alone at home while his parents and Kazuki went out. When Kazuki came back, she shockingly saw Yuji eating bread while dunking it in the glass of water. But then, she opened the fridge to show him the food so that he can eat them. He told her that he would get scolded if he ate the food from the fridge without permission, but she would scold their parents for scolding him. Kazuki felt guilty for leaving him all alone and that he was eating bread. Then the next day, his father hated him now more than ever and his mother, Satoko, was avoiding him. Later, Yuji went back to Kazuki and told her that he made a friend, and it was a girl named Sachi Komine. Kazuki gets jealous when he made a female friend and forbids him from making any more female friends that she did not approve of. However, she told him that she will find an appropriate girl for him. JB interrupts Yuji's story by asking him about the practical jokes by Kazuki, and he continued his story by explaining it to her. Yuji and Kazuki were taking a bath, and she washed him. Kazuki asked him if he ever kissed a girl, and he told her that he didn't, so Kazuki proceeded by kissing Yuji on the lips, which indicates that it is Yuji's first kiss. Afterward, she told him that incest is when siblings love each other but cannot get married to each other. She then asked him if she is abnormal to him for loving him so very much, but he told her that she is just right, which made her happy as she thanked him. Then eventually, Kazuki enrolled at Takazono Academy, but she did not join the Fine Arts Club. She instead joined the basketball club. Later, back in the Kazami residence, while the family is eating, she smiled at him because even though he feared her, he depended on her. Kazuki's lifestyle would continue for all eternity as she heads out on a field trip. But one day, it leads her to the events of the minibus disaster, where there was a sole survivor, and it wasn't Kazuki, it was a girl named Amain Suwu, who was unknown to anyone back then. Kazuki is dead, and Satoko was devastated by the fact that she died, while Ryuji fell into depression and became an alcoholic. Soon after, Ryuji began abusing both Satoko and Yuji whenever he demanded more alcohol. The next day, Yuji and Satoko moved out of their home, away from Ryuji, and they moved into their new home. They were having a peaceful life for a year, until one day, Ryuji managed to find Satoko and abused her once more. Yuji tried to stop him, but Ryuji hits his face and caused him to fall. And then, Ryuji started raping Satoko, and Yuji has had enough of him and decides to kill his father. When he remembered that Kazuki asked him which hand would use to kill a man, Yuji stood up and finally hits Ryuji with a glass bottle of alcohol and causing him to spill blood on the walls. Yuji saved Satoko by killing Ryuji out of his life. Since Satoko is scared for life and unable to run away, she wanted Yuji to run to the station. As night falls, Yuji heard an ambulance and ran back home to witness the corpse of Ryuji. He then ran inside and witnessed a person who was hanged, and that person was his mother. Satoko committed suicide, and then Yuji passed out and was taken to the hospital. After waking up in the hospital, Yuji read the note that was covered in blood. It was Satoko's suicide note, and he cried. Soon after, one man released Yuji from the hospital. It was a man named Rie Kirihara, the same man that Yuji met a while ago. Then after, Rie took him inside his mansion and made Yuji put on the girl's clothes and a girl's wig, so Yuji to look like his sister, Kazuki. He then touched him in a place that made Yuji feel uncomfortable. Then on a stormy night, there was that one man who came inside the room and slapped Yuji in his face. However, Yuji got back up and killed that man. Rie came back and was impressed with what Yuji has done. He took Yuji back to his room and told him that he is not mad for killing that man. Yuji remembered that it was a cold country, and in that country, Rie was known as Heath Oslo, and Yuji called him that. Heath then enrolled Yuji in a terrorist training camp. While Heath liked him, that made the other boys hate Yuji. Yuji was then trained to snipe in a long range. But then, one of the boys beat Yuji up in a fight, leaving him injured. However, Yuji met a girl named Marlin who treated his wounds and shared with him some food. The next day, Heath trained Yuji how to fight with real blades and how to snipe at enemies. Then one day there was a graduation exam where Yuji must defeat and kill his opponent in a fight to the death, and his opponent was none other than Marlin. As the fight begins, Yuji gained the upper hand by punching Marlin as she falls. He then kicked her down, but when her scream reminded him of his mother's scream, it shocked him when he was about to become like his father. The other boys then wanted him to finish her, but instead of killing her, Yuji held back in fear, allowing Marlin to stand up and beat him up while she laughed like a maniac. Heath gets mad and demands Yuji to stand up and fight. But it was too late, for Marlon defeated Yuji by kicking him sky high. Yuji had failed his graduation exam, and Heath was disappointed and dragged him to a prison wall. Later, Marlon came inside the prison wall to wash Yuji's wounds off, regretting what she had done to him and apologizing to him with the same words that reminded him of his mother's words. Then, after feeding him some food, Marlon told him that she will graduate soon, despite her bad fighting skills. Marlon then graduated from the camp, and she never saw Yuji again. He was hoping that he would see her again if she survived, but one day, the nurse told him that Marlon was killed in action, which saddens him. 2 months passed, and Heath gave Yuji another chance to graduate. Yuji's task was an actual assassination, where he disguised himself as Kazuki and moved to Canada to kill his target. He went to a hotel to meet with a man, who gave him money for doing nothing. And then, Yuji killed that man by stabbing his neck with a pen. That incident reminded JB that she was a member of an American intelligence agency. Yuji then told her that the CIA called him ET-01, Enfant Terrible Number 1, as he had heard it from Asako. JB then found out about the victims. Glenn Macpherson, a judge from the International Court of Justice who was stabbed in his neck. Harold Bowman, CEO of the American bank ABM, who was killed from a broken neck. Benoit Robert, French left-wing radical, and a member of the National Assembly who was strangled. And Paul Graham, a freelance journalist who was crashed and died in a car accident. JB could not grasp Yuji's true identity until that one night when they infiltrated Heath Oslo's residence and found him. A bunch of armed men appeared, and a woman named Asako Kurosabi began infiltrating the mansion. After they broke in, they killed some of Heath's guards one by one. When Asako and the others broke inside Heath's room, Heath himself was not there. And then, the men were ambushed by more of Heath's guards, until Asako killed all the guards. Then, they went downstairs, exploded the door, and found a girl inside. Asako thought it was a girl, but when the wig fell off, she found out that she is a boy. After that, she took him out of the mansion and was informed that Heath got away. And that is where Yuji first met Asako. Meanwhile, Heath did manage to escape with that other man who was working for him, as Heath said that he will meet Yuji again one day. Yuji's story about the dark past has finally ended for now, and Yuji told JB that they should take a breather. Meanwhile, in the student dormitory, while watching another episode of Tuna Man, Makina was cheering for Tuna Man, but Sachi suddenly fell in love with Tuna Man's archenemy, Shark Man, and cheered for him instead. Michiru asked the girls about Yuji's whereabouts, and Makina teased her by asking her if she is lonely, which Michiru denies it. Sachi then told Michiru to get used to being alone, as she used Yumiko as an example, but Yumiko of course denies that fact. Sachi then told the girls that she brought something from Yuji's room, and it was a report about Yuji's past, all put together after it was shredded. Seeing that they could not know anything about Yuji's past the moment after he knew theirs, they finally looked what his past is all about. After reading half of Yuji's dark past story, the girls felt sorry to hear that Yuji killed a man and that he had no parents to protect him, and according to Sachi, he was a victim of that incident. Amain still felt guilty about leaving Yuji's sister, Kazuki, to die in the minibus disaster. Michiru thought that Yuji was in by his master and had lived a relatively enjoyable life, but Yumiko corrected her that his life wasn't enjoyable at all. Even Makina wanted to know how much longer he suffered, so Yumiko decides that they should read it until the end of his dark past story. Meanwhile, in JB's office, JB asked Yuji to tell her the rest of his dark past, so he continued where he left off. The flashback continues, and in the hospital, JB gets annoyed by Asako's attitude when JB reminded her that she must take care of Yuji. Then, Asako told Yuji that she is getting him out of the hospital as she treated him harshly by smacking his head, despite JB's disagreement with treating him harshly. Asako then told him that to him, she is a god. After taking him to her cabin, Asako took off Yuji's shirt so he can take a bath. But then JB noticed that his body is covered in wounds, bruises, and scars, while Asako noticed that he has not eaten anything. So she told JB to go buy some food for all of them, 2 beers just for her, and some clothes for him. As they are eating lunch, Yuji, however, did not touch any of his food. But then, without looking, Yuji killed a fly that was on the table with his hand. He then finally reacted when he looked at the dead fly and felt horrified, so he threw up. As night falls, while Yuji is asleep, the women now realize that he is sicker than they thought. Asako told her that while she was bathing him, Yuji had 2 gunshot wounds and was gouged by a blade, and also he had endless scars and bruises. As Asako was about to drink another can of beer, JB decided to drink one from her. JB said that it would be easier if they had just killed him, but Asako disagreed in that, as his god, she must keep him alive. The next day, Asako tried to forcefully feed Yuji some food that she made, but he refused to eat and wants JB to save him, though she told him that Asako is only treating him harshly out of concern for him. Then JB noticed what food Asako made, a special rice porridge, and when Asako told her that she added the deer nethers to the porridge, JB is disgusted and screamed as she flushed it away, realizing that Asako is a lousy cook. JB then made Yuji edible food and fed him some. Afterward, they went outside. Yuji met a puppy, and Asako told him that the puppy belongs to him from now on, as Yuji named that puppy John. Though it turns out that the puppy is a girl. As Yuji is playing catch with John, the women saw him smiling and now realized that he was having a good time. But then JB was outraged when Asako made a resignation letter for Asako to retire. However, JB did not allow it, as she reminded her that she is still a spy serving as a foundation of the CIRS. Asako told her that she is only doing it because she is scared of dying, but that wasn't her only reason. Her other reason was that she doubted she is capable of being extreme long-distance sharpshooting anymore because the vision in her right eye has gotten worse. But instead of retiring, she might get a part-time job rearing her next generation, or she might become an instructor at the hunting school for America. And whenever Asako goes, she will take Yuji with her. At nighttime, Asako woke up to find Yuji outside, where he looked at the stars while he was crying about something until John comforted him. The next day, after JB leaves, Yuji is running in the forest because Asako told him to, while John accompanies him. Then she started training him how to fight, only to slam him down and kicked him in the stomach. She then told him to not just use his strength, but to use his head when the condition gets tough. And then Yuji called John for help, so she ran towards Asako and bit her leg, although Asako doesn't recall him requiring assistance. When autumn began, Asako told Yuji that his speed will make him popular in elementary school, his strength will make him popular in middle school, and his brain will make him popular in high school. So for that, she wanted him to read all the books. When night falls, Asako was doing gun maintenance by polishing her gun while smoking a cigarette. She then told Yuji that she worked for the CIRS, which stands for the Central Intelligence and Research Second, a Japanese-American unified anti-terrorism organization. Her job was to defeat the enemies by any means necessary. Dead or alive, Asako decided that she will train MC how to shoot, even though he had already done that while in Heath Oslo's camp. The next day comes and she wanted him to shoot a can from far away with a sniping gun. He fired a bullet, but he missed. He tried it again, only this time, he successfully shot the can off the rocks. After that, Asako gives him the prize, a big black case, as she gave him the combination code, which is 9029. Yuji opened the case and saw what was inside. An M24 SWS, a special kind of sniping gun, and it is his to keep. And so, for all the lessons she taught him, Yuji decided to call Asako master. Then, during winter, Asako showed Yuji the 250 METI registered NATO rounds that JB sent to her so that they will go hunting with these. After that, they went camping while drinking a cup of coffee. Soon after, she wanted him to shoot the deer, but when it looked at him, he was unable to shoot it as the deer ran away. Asako becomes slightly disappointed that he did not shoot the deer. Later, back at Asako's cabin, Yuji witnessed a mess in the living room, and then he saw a wild grizzly bear in the kitchen. While Yuji rushed to Asako's room to get his sniping gun and rushed back into the living room, the bear caught John by biting her and killing her. When Yuji was about to shoot the bear, his cowardice prevented him from doing so, as the bear got away with John. However, rather than just staying inside, Yuji went after the bear with his gun and a knife by following John's blood marks and the bear's footprints. He was going to shoot the bear, but he slipped in the snow and fell as the bear heard the trigger and goes after him. With his gun covered in dirt, Yuji tried to stab the bear with his knife, but it managed to remove his knife from his hand. Just when the bear is about to kill him, Yuji used Heath's words to kill it, so he stabbed the bear's left eye with a stick. Yuji then removed the dirt from his gun by hitting the tree, so he can finally kill the bear. However, he saw the two baby cubs, realizing that the bear is its mother and it was going to feed John to them. He was horrified, and after he threw up again, he fired his gun, presumably killing the cubs while they are eating John, and Asako heard that sound from the forest. When Yuji came back with John's collar, he told Asako that he could not kill the bear, and then he started crying over the fact that he is weak and useless. As the sun sets, Yuji buried John's collar and made a grave for John. He then told Asako that he is sick of being a coward and decides to become like her, but she told him that it is not an easy path and that he is still in his mental suggestion that Heath made him into a killing machine. Asako still saw him as a wimp who cannot even kill an insect. Then, she reminded him of the fact that she took him in because she got paid to train him into becoming a well-trained man. She then told him that a long time ago, there was a war, and that one officer once said, "1 man, 10 kills," meaning that even if he is surrounded, he must kill 10 enemies by himself. But in that different era, it is now 1 man, 10 rescues, meaning that he must give up his life in exchange for saving 10 lives. But since he is half a man, she will allow him to rescue only 5 citizens. Yuji then decides that he will try hard enough that it will not kill him. While Yuji is cooking ramen, Asako told JB that he is not a virgin, which shocks her. JB then gets furious about it, and when Asako told her that saying some sort of stuff would make her become a virgin forever, it infuriates JB. With this, we end our video. Stay tuned for the next part and watch our other quality contents. Stay safe. Bye.